Hey, we want you to look at your screen right now. At this video, only on 2, what you're seeing here is a 5-year-old boy literally being dragged down a hallway inside Cy-Fair ISD's Tips Elementary School. The boy's mother was a teacher at this same school, but did not learn the severity of this incident for weeks. The boy's mother is joining me now live to talk more about this incident. Nicole Graves, thanks so much for coming on this morning, Nicole.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we want to sort of get to the bottom of it. You can explain all of these events, but we're looking at charging documents from the court that show that your son was dragged about 143 feet. And you can see that that person, I believe a teacher, is dragging him by an ankle. Can you talk about, did your son have any injuries from that incident?
Yes, he had a carpet burn on his back. I believe it was from the impact of being dragged on the carpet, even though he was also dragged on tile.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I say teacher, but it was a paraprofessional, to use specific terms, who works at that school, who assists in special needs classes. So that person has now been charged with injury to a child. But tell us how the school initially handled this situation, and police actually did get involved?
Yes, I was called into a meeting the day of the incident and told that he was mishandled. I didn't know specific details about how. When I saw him, he had an ice pack on his lower back. So, of course, I looked at his lower back and I didn't see anything. I didn't realize that it was his upper back until we got home and I actually, was able to fully examine his body.
And so they called you in to share that with you because anytime your child is injured at school, right? I mean, they're supposed to notify you. Is that why they were telling you this? Okay. And then, and so obviously as a mom, you probably had lots of questions. At what point did police get involved?
They were involved right away, actually. They did handle it swiftly. I got to speak with a detective of Cy-Fair Police Department. They did their investigation, and from there, it was forwarded to the DA's office.
Wow. And so now we're learning, you've told us that there were other incidents where your son was restrained, and you've shared with KPRC that one incident led to actually you losing your job because you worked there at the same elementary school. Can you share more of those details?
The number of restraints I initially told was 21. It was actually almost or over 40. Sorry.
That's okay. And Nicole, just to kind of to put this into perspective, and I know this is difficult for you, for families who may not have children working with paraprofessionals in public schools or in any setting where you're not always there to know what's going on, talking about those restraints, I mean, that's something that is not supposed to happen at all?
No, it's not a part of his behavior plan, and in my opinion, excessive. So when this May 12th incident that you're referring to took place, I was trying to avoid another restraint because she had called for more help. And, I'm right there, like my classroom was 20 feet away. So I was trying to avoid him getting restrained again and just de-escalate so I could send him back to class. And as you can see from the video, she was blocking my contact with him.
That is what we're seeing in that video. We do see you come into the view. I mean, and Nicole, you worked there and taught there. And like you said, you were 20 feet away and didn't know, you said, about all of the incidents of restraint. I can't even imagine what it must be like for families who may hear this, who have no idea what's happening when their child is at school. The police got involved. Where does this case stand?
I've been terminated from the school district, and he's now currently at another school where his behavior plan is being followed very effectively. He actually loves going to school now, whereas last school year it was a fight every morning, from being restrained literally daily. It's so much better now, and I'm just glad that he's in a better place because that was my biggest concern, just making sure that he recovered from all of this and to help him understand that what he went through is not normal.
Yeah. What did you do at Tips Elementary? Were you a teacher, paraprofessional, or what was your position?
I was a fourth grade teacher. I've been a teacher in Cy-Fair for 10 years, but I've taught a total of 17 years. And my termination, it was challenging because I have no other history of any wrongdoing. The colleagues that I work with, the parents that I've supported, and the students that I've worked with, all have great things to say.
And what did Cy-Fair ISD say about your termination? I believe we did have a statement from Cy-Fair that, just telling our producers, it looks like it is not in the script right now, but I do remember reading that before we came out. What did they tell you about your termination, why you were terminated?
Because of my constant not following of directives involving my son.
Got it.
And also, there were times that, sorry, I would be late to school, but I'd be late because I was dealing with my son, having to encourage him to be at school and know that it's a happy place, and help him understand that what he was going through is not actually how it is, even though it's what he went through, sometimes multiple times a day.
Yeah, well, Nicole, I am glad that your son is now in a different place, hopefully where he enjoys going to school every day. I appreciate you sharing your story with us, and want to make sure that at some point in this show we'll give you that statement from Cy-Fair ISD and what they say. We know a lot of these cases, they say there's so much they can't say because of privacy laws and rules. But thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Just thank you all for having me. And for parents that may be in a similar situation, please don't be afraid to speak up and be an advocate for your children. Unfortunately, there are things like this that happen in schools that districts try and hide from the media. But if your child is telling you that something is happening to them at school, believe them, even no matter how bizarre it sounds. Just know that they're telling the truth, and support and speak until somebody listens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great advice. Thank you so much, Nicole Graves.
Thank you all for having me. Have a great day.
You too.